Hi, this is Everett from Everett Simply Drawing with Everett in my studio, and this is my second episode. The first episode was last week, so if you missed out, I can show you how to get there. Look at the first episode. So I'm working. This today is my episode number 2. And before we get started, let me go over a couple of things here. The real objective of trying to draw, and I think a lot of people either don't know or aren't aware of it. It's really, you want to try to train your intuitive side of your thoughts, of your brain, on the right side of the brain. And there was a book written by Betty Edwards several years ago, and it really goes into the description of using the right side of the brain. So a lot of the things I'll be doing in the next several weeks is trying to show you how to train your right side of your brain to draw. And basically it comes down to the point of being able to seeing the right way. You're able to draw. Everybody can draw. It's the fact that you're not able to see properly or to interpret or perceive properly, and therefore you're having problems. Let me show. Let me go down to my overhead camera, and let me introduce a couple things. I have a website called Everett's Watercolors, and it's Everettwatercolors.com, and on there, on my website, I have all supplies and classroom videos and so forth. But down on my website page, when you go in there, you're going to find a link to Simply Drawing with Everett. Simply Drawing with Everett. And this QR code right here, you just point your iPhone camera to that, and that'll take you directly to my website. And on my website, you can find Simply Drawing with Everett. It'll be a link on that first page. Now, what that is, I'm going to be posting all the videos of my episodes. I have episode 1 on there right now, which was last week, and I'll have this one tonight, episode 2. I'll have that on the same length. Okay. Now, I'll have a description in the video of this particular program, a description of the video of the links and how to get there and so forth. So that's just to get you a little introduction to what to expect. And another thing I've been thinking about since my last program, I've been thinking about trying to explain some of my goals of talking about drawing, how to become a better drawer, a better artist, and so forth. And I think it boils down to these 5 areas I'm going to try to stress over the next several weeks and months. The first one is the perception of edges. And I think we talked a little bit about that last week on the first episode, was the edges. When I did a sketch of the cup, I was talking about getting the proper edges. The second area is perception of spaces. That's the distance between different items or different objects. Relationships is another perception of how things are related to one another in a drawing. And the perception of lights and shadows, that's the lights and darks, the shading and so forth. And then the last one would be the whole. That's the whole drawing. Now I'm going to have this will be on my website also, and it'll also be on the video for tonight, where you can take a look at this. So these are the 5 areas that I'm going to be stressing over the classes and demonstrations that I talk about in this particular session, Simply Drawing with Everett. And the strategy down here, I got a strategy for gaining access to the right mode. Means the right side of the brain, to see better and to perceive better. And so I'm going to go over it right now. I'm going to go over it with a few warm-up exercises with you, just to get started. So get your pencils out. A pencil you should have probably what I have here for drawing right now, just like I did last time. I got an HB pencil, a 2B, a 4B, and I have a blending stump, and I have an eraser, okay, and a piece of paper. So an HB is just like a number 2 pencil. A number 2B is a softer lead. A 4B is a softer lead. And then a synthetic a synthetic eraser is a good one to have also. Okay, so let's talk about warm-ups. The warm-up first one I want you to get into is how do I move the pencil, and how do I start thinking about training the right side of the brain? Well, it's very simply. Let's start with the way you would do a sketch drawing. 1, 2, 3, up, down, up, down, up. That's how to get a straight line right there. Up, down, up. If I want to go left, right, left, left, right, left. And over here, up, down, up, down, up. And over here, up, left, right, left, left, right, left. And I've made a box. So drawing a straight line is very simple. Just getting it into the rhythm of moving the pencil and just moving in directions. So let's do another little exercise. And this time, what I want you to do is I'm going to draw the letters 1 through 5. And when you do the 1, it's just one up, down, up. I'm going to do 2, and then backwards 2. Then I'm going to do a 3, and backwards 3. Then I'm going to do a 4, and backwards 4. And I'm going to do a 5, and backwards 5. So I'm going to, as I do these symbols, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to go forward and backward, and repeat them. And what that's going to do, it's a good warm-up exercise for getting your eye, not your eyes, but getting your feeling of drawing on the paper and disconnecting your left side of your brain. You're just trying to concentrate on absorbing, perceiving what you're doing. Now, without looking at the paper, you don't have to look at the. All I want you to do is put your pencil down on the paper, and just look out to the wall or look off to the side, and just go. Now, go with me. Start with a 1. Now go to 2. Back. Then do 3. Back. Then do 4. Back. Then do 5. Back. Okay. And it doesn't matter. You're not making any figure at all, but you're moving the pencil, and the thing you're doing is when you do right brain training, and we're trying to train the brain to use the right side of the brain. It's really a two-step process. You can see what you're drawing, but you can also feel. Like when I'm drawing, I feel like I'm touching the number, I'm touching the letter, or I'm touching the object with the pencil. I feel touch along with the actual location. All right, so that's a good warm-up, and you should do this, 4 or 5 minutes every day. Just go through the numbers. 1, then 2, forwards and backwards. Then go back to this, and then do 3, forwards and backwards. Then do 4, forwards and backwards. Then do 5. Just over and over again, repetition. Okay, and that's a good exercise to get your hand and eye coordination, just thinking about moving the pencil and not concentrating on what you're doing, just moving the pencil. Okay, we'll talk about that some more in the coming weeks. So for tonight's exercise, I'm going to draw a contour line. We're going to draw a contour line. Now let me explain to you what that means. Now, if you don't, you should go, and probably if you don't have this book or have seen this, you can probably go to the library and pick it out, or you can go online. Online they have, if you go online and just put down drawing on the right side of the brain, you'll find a lot of articles written about this particular book. And if you have access to a library or want to get your own copy of this book, I would recommend it. I have learned a lot just by reading. There's exercises in here, but there's a lot of information. There's a lot of technical information of a lot of scientific research on the right side of the brain training. So there's a lot you can learn from this. And we'll be talking about some of these things over the coming weeks. because it's very important in learning how to draw. A lot of people think that drawing is just copying somebody how they do it, but that's not true. Just copying something is not really drawing. You need to get your own feeling, your own thoughts, your own movement into the drawing, your own perception. So tonight we're going to start that, and so this is an exercise, but it's a real exercise that really will help you in training your right side of your brain. We're going to draw the hand without looking at the paper. Draw the hand without looking at the paper. That's the objective tonight. Now, because if you look at the paper, what happens is you start judging what you're drawing. Your left side of your brain will tell you, oh, that's not good, or oh, that's not right, or you did something wrong. And it's going to interfere with your drawing process. So, moving the hand. Right? So you train your hand to draw what you see, what the eye sees. Your hand will follow your eye. Believe it or not, when you look at something and follow it with your eye and do the same movement with your hand, it will follow your eye movement. That's what happens. You look at something and follow it with your eyes, your hand will follow your eye movement. And that's what we're going to show tonight. So we're going to train our hand to follow what our eye sees. That's what we're going to do. And the drawing that will happen tonight is a record of your perception. We don't worry about what the drawing looks like or what happens or what the result is. It will be a drawing of your perception of what you see. So the contour line is going to represent the edge of the form. So what I'm going to do now, there's my setup. I'm going to show you. I'm going to set up two screens here. Very simply. Okay, now at the top left tip here, where you see my hand moving, okay, that's camera number one. That's my close-up camera, and that's going to be looking at my hand. Okay, that's going to be looking at my hand, and I'm going to put my hand in a position which is a comfortable position. I'm just going to lay it down here, and actually, this is an overhead view looking down. Now, my actual viewpoint, my hand's really going to be something like this. It's going to be looking at a slight angle. I'm going to be looking at an angle. I'm going to see this part, I'm going to see the wrist, the thumb, the forefinger, and the middle finger, and so forth. Okay, but I'm going to lay it flat now because that's what I want you to see. That's my hand in position right there. That's my hand, and I'm going to leave it there. Now off here to the right now, here's the other side. This is my drawing pad. This is my drawing pad over here on the right. Okay. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to go back to the main camera just for a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking to the left over here at my hand. I'm looking to the left, and I'm going to be drawing with my right hand over here. And what I'm going to do, so I don't see my hand moving, is I'm going to close my right eye. Okay? I'm only going to be looking at my hand with my left eye. That will keep me from looking down and even see my hand move. I don't want to see any movement over. I don't want to see my hand do anything over here. I'm going to focus on what my hand. I'm going to focus on my hand, or I'm going to focus on the subject that I'm drawing. I'm going to focus on the subject that I'm drawing, and I'm going to start at a point. So, and you won't see me doing this, but I'm going to take my word for it. I'm going to have one eye closed. My left eye is going to be looking at my hand, and my right hand is going to be drawing over here on the pad, right here. All right, let me take you back to the overhead camera. All right, so my left hand is in position, and I'm looking at it. Now I'm going to close my right eye. Now I'm going to pick up. Now just to set you up, I'm going to start right here. I'm going to start drawing here with my wrist. I'm going to start with my wrist. I'm going to go around my thumb, my forefinger, up around the fingers, all the way down, all the way to the other side of the wrist. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start here. My eye is going to start here. And I'm going to very slowly I'm going to look at the edge of my hand as I go around. I'm going to follow the edge of my fingers and the curves with my eyes. That's the path I'm going to take. Now, over here, I'm going to be drawing that path. I'm going to be following my eye movement. So to get started, I'm going to put my pencil down over here in a position I know I'm going to be drawing out in this direction somewhere. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom left corner with a pencil. All right, now I'm closing my right eye and I'm going to start drawing. Okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, now let me do a close-up of the overhead camera. Okay. All right, now what I want to do now, I'm going to bring it up to you, up to close now. That's what I drew. That's what I drew. And that's not too bad because I had my hand like that. You can see here's the wrist to come around. There's the thumb. There's the forefinger. And I remember myself now. I retraced my step to do the middle finger. I did the middle finger, went up. I retraced it a little bit and did the ring finger. And I came back, I retraced it, and I did the little finger. Then I came down over here to the last part, and then I started following back to my wrist. Okay? So that's exactly what I saw when I drew that. Now it may not be perfect. We're not trying to get a perfect drawing in this position. We're not getting a perfect drawing when we do this with this. What it is training. It's training our right brain to draw what we see. What we see. Now I could go in here with my hand. I can go in here now with my hand. What I see, I leave it in position, and I could go and draw in the thumbnail. I can go up here. I see a little bit of the thumbnail up here. I see a thumbnail up here. So I can go back in and make details about the object, what I saw. And then here I could go in, there's a little bit of knuckle here. There's a knuckle over here. There's a knuckle on the forefinger. There's a knuckle here on my thumb. So I can go back and make a little detail. There's a knuckle here on my middle finger. There's a big knuckle here on this side. This comes down, and there's a knuckle here. So I could go back in and make a little detail. And if I want to correct myself, I could come down here and bring this in a little bit. So I'm going to make a little correction on my drawing and bring that in, because my wrist would have been a little more narrow than that. And that's about the only thing I would change, is this last little motion right here. Okay, then I could go in, and I could go in with my this is my 4B pencil, and do a little shading. I could do a little shading here on this side, because I see the light's coming down from above the overhead light, and there's a little shadow here on this part, on this finger. So I could put a little contour on the dimension of this. I put a little shadow here on this finger because of the lighting. A little shadow over here. Okay, and all of a sudden, and I could go in and do a little exaggeration on some of the marks here. All of a sudden, you've got a pretty good realistic drawing of what you see. There's a few little wrinkles here in my hand and so forth. This muscle here comes out a little bit more. This knuckle. Go back and do a little refinement on the knuckles of the hand and the size. That was pretty good there. So that you just by doing the first cut of just drawing what you observe without looking at it, you're getting a closer step to, this is what an artist does when they do a drawing. They're drawing what they see, not what they think they see. Okay, so that as you work on the fingers and put a little more detail on there, thumbnail, the fingernails, and a little bit of shadow, a little bit of shading on the fingers, and then look at the edges a little bit closer, you can come up pretty close to a very good drawing of what you see. Okay, so that's the first step of drawing without looking. And there's many more things we'll talk about in the future, but that's just one thing I wanted you to start tonight. Now, we can turn the page over. Leave this one right here for a second. Let's do another. If we can do another real quick one. We have another 5 minutes. You can take it. Maybe we don't have enough time, but this is enough to get started with. So the hand laying down. What you could do with your hand is you can. What's nice about your hand, if you had trouble finding something to draw, or you didn't have any idea what to draw or whatever, your hand is there. You can take your hand and do all kind. What I do is sometimes I'll draw with my open hand. I draw this way with the hand upward like this, or I'll turn my hand over and do a palm. Maybe next week or next time we'll do a drawing of the hand facing up. And you can make a fist and draw your thumb and your finger, and there's an interesting shape there. Or you can cross your fingers and do a drawing with your hand with your fingers crossed, like this, or wrapped around your thumb. There's all kinds of things you can do with your fingers to make an interesting shape out of. Okay. And you can sit there and just look at that and draw it. Just draw it. Okay? Now, the exercise tonight was not to look at your hand, not to look at the paper as you were drawing. There's nothing wrong with looking at the hand while you're drawing. It's fine. I'll go over a little bit of that next week about looking at it as you draw also. But I want to get you to start thinking about, number one, a little review. Do a little warm up with the numbers. 1, 2, forwards and back. Let's do that again. 1, forward and back. 2, forward, and back. 3, forward and back. 4, forward and back. And the last one was 5, forward and back. Okay, and that's a good warm-up exercise to get the feeling for drawing on the page or drawing on the paper and having the pencil move in a direction. And what you're doing, you're thinking about those numbers in your brain, in your mind. You know, everybody knows what a 1 is, and everybody knows what a 2 is, and everybody knows what a 3 is, and a 4. Now, when I do a 4, I do it this way. I do a 4. That's a figure 4. And a 5. So everybody knows how to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 4 is really up like this, and then backwards is the other way. Okay? The reason I made the 2 like this, I wanted you to get the idea of doing curves. You're doing curves in your drawing, not straight lines. Curves. And the 3, same way. 3. 4 is the only one that's got a straight line in it. 4. 5's got 1 or 2 straight lines, but it's got a curve. So you got curves and straight lines when you're drawing, okay? So that's a very simple exercise to get warmed up to draw simple figures, but they warm you up and they get your brain thinking about what you're seeing. So we're trying to train the brain to use the right side of your brain to perceive and to draw what you see. Okay, well that's going to wrap up tonight's little demonstration of drawing. I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to start out by I want to share with you. You want to try to relax, and we didn't do that tonight. I should have started out with a little relaxation talk about close your mind, relax, take an upbeat breath, loosen your fingers, do some exercises with your hand, get a wrist movement, get your joints loose, and be relaxed. Be relaxed when you draw. Don't be tense. Be relaxed. Have your hands draw. Have your fingers relaxed. Okay. I wanted to read a paragraph out of this book that I thought was very important. Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. Fantastic book. There's a quote in here on page 15, and it's written by Edward Hill, who was an artist and also a drawer. Okay, it says, and let me quote, "To empty one's mind of all thought and refill the void with a spirit greater than oneself is to extend the mind into a realm not accessible by conventional process of reason." That's a fantastic quote. That is what drawing means, is that you overcome the thought of actually looking. You learn how to look, and you learn how to draw in the same step. Okay, that's good for tonight's class. Everett's Watercolors, if you're interested in looking at me as far as watercolors go, I'm on next Thursday at 2 o'clock. Everett's Watercolors, I do a little watercolor demonstration with paints and brushes and so forth. And then I come back at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I do another drawing with Everett. Simply drawing with Everett. Okay? And I think what you're getting the idea of what I'm talking about is we're going to go through steps about how to draw what you see, and how to overcome the left side of the brain and have your right side of the brain control your drawing process. That's what this book is all about, drawing on the right side of the brain, and it really makes a lot of sense. I've been drawing a long time. When I read this book, my drawing became a lot better because of what I read and what I did. Okay? And I hope to make your drawing better also. So you have a good week, and I'll see you next Thursday at 7:30 or at 2 o'clock with my drawing or with my painting class on Eastern Standard Time. So bye for now. Oh, I want to stop, take a look at them. So I want to say goodbye looking at you, not looking at my hand. So I'll see you next Thursday. It's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for watercolor class, or at 7:30 in the evening Eastern Standard Time for Simply Drawing with Everett. So thank you for